You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Last week, 14 incredible women took off to trek the Arctic to raise awareness for women's heart health.
And we're joined now by three of these sledging sisters. Please welcome Sarah Lyons, Karina Duffy and Commercial Director of the Irish Heart Foundation, Judith Gilton. And ladies, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
I didn't realise, you only got in yesterday, did you?
Yeah, last night.
Yeah. You know what's fresh as a daisy?
We could have had you in tomorrow morning.
Well, yeah.
You could have had a lie in. Thanks for coming in. Judith, you work for the Irish Heart Foundation. Yeah. You went as well. You were one of the trekkers and you were an organiser. How did it all come about, or where'd you get the idea from?
I suppose, it was just basically to try and do something extraordinary to get a bit of attention for women's cardiovascular disease. If we all think about how we understand heart disease, we usually, even in a movie, if you see someone having a sudden heart attack, it's always a man. It's always a sort of stressed out man in a suit. You never think about women in the same way. So people are programmed to think that men are more affected by heart disease than women, and it's just not the case. And particularly women coming up to menopause and post-menopause, they lose the benefits of estrogen in the system, and therefore your blood vessels become less supple and all that kind of stuff. So women are actually 6 times more likely to die of heart disease than breast cancer. Yeah. And people just don't know that. Yeah.
And you just want to raise that awareness. That makes sense. That I can understand. And that's what you're all about. But why did you need to go to the Arctic?
Well, it was...
Why not?
Well, some people do a walk, or they go door to door and say, will you sponsor a line? This is a very different thing.
Yeah, it was kind of to do something outrageous and unexpected for women. And so we intentionally went with an all-female group, and we were doing a survival... We were doing a sort of survival skills challenge. So we were living in a cabin some of the time, but then other times we were sleeping out in a tent in minus 20, very, very, very cold, perched on 2 metres of snow. And we were doing it to kind of do something strong and interesting that would attract attention, that would attract the women to do it, and then the conversation around heart disease.
Sarah's giggling away here. I have to say, you're probably looking at that going, what was I thinking? What were you thinking? No, seriously, then why did you decide to get involved in Her Heart Matters?
Well, when I saw it, it was initially the challenge that it caught my interest, going to the Arctic. And I was at a stage where I was like, I feel I need a challenge my body, challenge my mind. And then the Her Heart Matters campaign really resonated with me, because I didn't know that we had the same, stats as men, that 1 in 4 women can die from heart disease. And if I didn't know that, then a lot of my friends mightn't have known that. And what has happened now through this campaign is it started, first of all, why are you going to the Arctic? And then, but why, when I was telling them the reasoning behind that with the campaign, it started a conversation about her heart health, and that we should need to take care of our heart, and that we deserve to be taken care of, because we're always putting others first a lot of the time, as women, as mothers, as business owners. So it was an opportunity to start that conversation, and a lot of women don't know that we have the same stats and that we need to take care of our heart.
Yeah. Karina, I'm glued to this.
I was just looking at it there, pulling. Look at that sled. That's definitely over 50 kg now. We were pulling that.
The sled.
You were all pulling that across.
That was our house. We were pulling our house. That was our tent.
This is wild. And so how long were you there for in total? Was it a week? You were gone for. So talk us through the experience then of being up there in those kind of conditions.
Do you know what? As I said on an Instagram post, it's very hard to put into words, and the video doesn't explain actually what we did. It was... I was just saying that to you this morning in the car. It was so calm, it was so peaceful over there. There was no chirping of birds. We just woke up in the morning and it was so mindful and present. We had a task and that was it. Stay warm, how many layers are you putting on, and what's the crack? Are we bringing sandwiches or what are we doing?
Straight away, you've got to be organised.
Yeah. So how do you prepare for something like that, though?
A lot of walking, a lot of hiking.
What was the lead up to it like? How many months?
Well, I joined kind of 6 months ago, so it was around August, September, and what I did was just
lock yourself in the freezer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I put that to one side. Do you know how cold? I knew it was going to be obviously cold, but when we arrived that first evening, it was minus 19 degrees. And you're like, how do you even like comprehend that? So I was just concentrating on the fitness aspect. I kept going in the gym, but like really just walking and hill walking, especially just to get the strength in the legs and the endurance. So we had to break in our boots as well, because we took our own boots with us to fit into the skis and the snowshoes and everything. And yeah, it was just that, like, you know, keep going, and a lot of core work, a lot of walking.
There's 14
Never walked so much in my life.
It sounds like an amazing experience, tough but amazing. You'll have it forever.
Yeah.
And like with 14 of you going, did you all get on? Were you nervous about making pals,
Yeah,
Karina?
it was amazing.
Yeah, that was one thing I was worried about going, was how would we all cope together? Because there was like lots of different big personalities.
Yeah, and it could bring out not the worst in people, but that's kind of stress, like.
Yeah, because you're cold, you're miserable, like, you know, and it does bring out the worst. But we actually gelled really well, and we'd big personalities on that group, and we all said it was unusual that everybody just was vulnerable. And what I said to Jude this morning was, it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, you're literally brought back to the core. The layers are gone, and we're just worried about staying warm, minding each other. What's the next step? And we were well-minded with the team that was there. It was a progress. It was a stepping stone progress each day. You couldn't just drop us into the Arctic and like, camp now, go on, off you go. Yeah. So there was a step and training every day. We were 90 minutes out, back again. So they were training us up to the lead up to the overnight stay. Yeah. And I got that after day 2. I went, oh, I get it now. We just need to trust the process, work together, and just mind each other. And it was actually amazing.
Sarah, was there any point where you went, what in the name of God am I doing here? Because there's obviously, we see it's a huge achievement, it's great, but at the other times, I mean, it was gruelling for you. Do you ever go, oh my God, why?
I have to say, there was a few points, but when we started out on the expedition for the 24 hours, it just never stopped snowing. Like, from the minute we woke up that morning till we set up camp, it never stopped snowing. And each of us took a turn at the start of the line, and we had to break the snow for the people coming behind us. And like, the snow was like knee deep, and so you have to kind of break the snow, and then everyone kind of comes in your path. So that 5 or 6 minutes that I had to do that took a lot, and I was like, am I doing this? Is this really happening?
Am I in a fever dream?
Yes, you know, you can't really see in front of you. You're just concentrating, like, the visibility was 0, and you're literally just concentrating on the ski, going one foot in front of the other. Yeah. Literally digging. Because you're the first, you almost have to dig the snow out of the way, and then you're pulling the pulk as well. So that was the 5 minutes of, what is happening here? But, you know, you just had to dig deep. It was literally one foot in front of the other, and remember what you're doing it for, why you're there, and the fact that all the other women were coming behind me was like just that lovely push to keep going.
But I suppose when you look back at, that was obviously exhausting, and that 5 minutes probably felt like 5 hours. But on the flip side, Judith, there must have been some amazing memories as well for you all.
Like, absolutely, and like, might I add that, like, when we had one night when we were going, hands up anyone who's never ever even been in a tent in their lives, and there was like a third of the people were like, I've never been in a tent. I've never been in a tent in any climate. Never been in a tent
ever
in any climate. Like, I've never been in a hostel. I've never done anything like this. Like, so there was that sort of level of going from that to, I'm going to be like sleeping in a tent, floating on about 2 meters of snow. And the day we did that, a metre of snow fell that day. Like, rough. We pitched our tents, and when we came out an hour later, you could hardly find the tents. Like, it was madness.
Well, in fairness, if you did want to highlight women's health, that's one way of doing it. Trekking through the snow, you're trying to get fit for it, experiencing these freezing cold temperatures as well. You raised 120 grand, which is absolutely amazing. But we have to think as well, women are hugely affected by cardiovascular disease. You mentioned a little while ago that the signs and symptoms that I think traditionally you think, oh yeah, pain in the left arm, blah, 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 blah. But for women, they can be quite different as well, can't they? In some instances.
Yeah. And like, you know, there are women who've discovered that they've had heart disease, but it felt like indigestion. Yeah. You know, really, really serious fatigue. There's just lots of more nuanced kind of symptoms that women have. And when we've done research in the past, 28% of women weren't even having cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular conversation in their GP consultation. You know, you almost kind of think about other things first. So it's really, this is the starting point to go, we're all very aware of breast cancer and it's not to compare the two of them, but it's to go, we need to be at that level. We need to be thinking about that and going, hang on a minute, like I'm gonna ask about my cardiovascular health when I'm in the doctors, and I'm going to be talking to my girlfriends about
blood
it.
pressure checks, all
exactly.
these things.
And I'm just going to be thinking about it, and getting this kind of exposure is first and foremost what we're trying to do, is to create the conversation and to do that. And the women who did it are amazing, and all of their networks and all of their social media, like the thousands and thousands of women that are now informed that weren't before, and it's down to 14 women. It's amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. Have the conversation. If you're having the conversation, say, geez, fair play to those ladies, and then go, could it be cardiovascular? Or is it worth having a conversation with
and
my
then
GP?
go, I'll go to the Arctic next year.
And I'll go to the Arctic next year. Yeah,
How about a
that sounds
nice
like
long
great
walk? Walk like you're late for Mass. That's what any doctor has ever told me for your heart health. Walk like you're late to Mass, and that'll do the job. Listen, thank you all so much for joining us on the show, and I hope
Thanks
you go
a
home,
mil.
have a big, huge sleep now, because I think you deserve it.
Congrats.
For more
Thank you.
information on how to keep your heart healthy and to take a better look at the recent Sister Sledge Arctic Challenge, visit the Irish Heart Foundation at irishheart.ie.
And of course, if you're feeling unwell, if you have any concerns about your heart health, get in touch with your GP right away.